Rehearsal again this week? Thank you, man. That's all right.
Oh, sorry, Nick.
What do you do? Wait to see how many people?
Yeah, with the people will start chiming in, and
if you get over 100, I'm sitting in the chair.
if we get over 100, I'll be ecstatic.
Why? What's your average, mate?
99.
Wayne, you don't know what you got into.
Turn the volume down here.
Why do you think I have a good time when I come up here? I get down to pitch with these two guys and we're telling stories.
All right, folks, we're just waiting for people to log on to watch tonight's show. A great show, episode 4 of Facebook Live here, 2018 season. We got some great guests, so make sure you share this post right now so your friends can tune in and watch as well. Like us. Anything you'd like to hear on here, just hit that like button or love button. Don't hit that disgruntled emoticon or whatever it is. We don't want to see that on here, but share this with your friends. People are logging in right now. It's going to be a great show. We'll just give it a couple more minutes and we'll get started. First, we want to thank Daddy's Pizza here in Claremont, New Hampshire, 50 Pleasant Street, for again hosting us. We got a great crowd here tonight. We actually have microphones in the house so people can hear us, although this one doesn't appear to be working right now. Oh, there we go. Let's see if we got it here. Is yours working? Should be on already.
Testing 1, 2.
Yeah, it's working. All right, so we got that. So that, we've got some microphones working in here now.
I'm the serious one of the two, you can tell, right?
Yeah, he's a serious. Yeah, this one.
You have to yell into it.
That's it. George, is this one working? Yeah, it's working fine. All right, we're good there. Dick LaPlante's watching. Thank you. Scott Shearer says, "Let's get ready." Chris Riando, George, you're gonna look great in a Kyle Busch shirt. That's what he said. Yeah.
Better win opening night, buddy.
Sooty's watching. Mike Park says, "Hey, who's the old guy with a hat on?" LOL. Sid Whipple's watching. Dave Donahue, Cody Sabins. Just what George needs, a microphone. Tom Collier says that. So, yeah.
Don't listen to anything Tom says. He listens to Prince. He listens to Tom Petty. He listens to Michael Jackson. Count Tom right out of the conversation. By the way, thanks for pushing my truck.
That's nice. That's nice. Call him out on camera and then do that to him. Bruce Cantera's chiming in. So we have like 37 people watching live right now, 38 and going up. Just wait one more minute. Folks, hit that like button. Make sure you share this with your friends. Let's get this audience huge here. Yeah, we get a lot of people here. A lot of people in the house at Daddy's Pizza tonight. Great opportunity for you to come down and support businesses that support Claremont Speedway. So we got a great crowd. A lot of races out in the crowd, too. Craig Smith is going to join us. What's that? Oh, yeah, it's not working. No, that one's not working. Your wife says hi, guys.
Hi, hon. Hi, Berkey.
So we have,
Lucy.
we're getting up there. We have about 40 people on, so we might as well get started. So, folks, thank you for tuning in tonight. Facebook Live, episode 4 of the 2018 race season at Claremont Speedway. As I said, we're live from Daddy's Pizza here in Claremont, New Hampshire, 50 Pleasant Street. Pat and Ellen Donzero have hosted us now for 2 years in a row. We love to have them here. Great crowd here tonight, as I said.
We'd love to have you here, too.
Yep, so come on down anytime. Tonight, we have two sets of guests. I got to turn it on.
Yeah, you can turn it
Oh, sorry. I'm not that equipped. 2 great sets of guests tonight. As we said, we're going to have Craig Smith, the 2012 Super Street champion, will join us here after we talk to these 2 gentlemen, the racing guys.
Richie Evans and Jerry Cook.
Maybe in the industry they're known as that. But we got Dick Williams and Wayne Coates tonight. Gentlemen, thank you for driving up tonight from Rhode Island. Is that where you guys came from today?
Rhode Island and Connecticut.
Rhode Island and Connecticut. And they drove up today to be on this show specifically. We thank you both for being here tonight. Tri-track race. That's what we're here to talk about. And also talk about our race in August. So the floor is all yours. And we look forward to having you on May 26th.
Well, thank you. And I want to thank Jim, Bill, Toby, George, and a bunch of you I know by face, and I'm sorry I'm not good with names. but I know faces, and thank you for being here, and thank you for supporting this. This has been a dream of talking to Bill and Jim, and especially my brother-in-law Wayne and Jim Schaefer. This has been a dream for us to come here. We fell in love with the track when you guys took it over the first year. We came, and what an effort, what an improvement, and what a good time you have when you come here. So I have a lot of friends in racing, modified racing, in this area, and it's showing up when you see the names of the racers from your area that have joined this race. And on the way up today, we got a call that we had 3 more. We had 39 or 40 when we left, but we had 3 more, and Tom Barrett, Massey.
Yep, Steve Massey.
Steve Massey.
Yep.
And Les Roseman from Massachusetts. And that makes 43 or 44 guys that we have signed up. And usually, as a rule of thumb, with our series, if we have, whatever we have signed up, we end up with about 90% of them. So you better be ready for a long night, I'll tell you.
Well, you know, one of the things is it's always, you always try hard to put together a big number of racers and everything, but when you get a big name involved with it like yours, it really, it just does so much that we could never do. You know, it's an honor to have you helping us with this, because your name alone draws in more talent than we could.
Well, I kind of disagree with you. Not being smart, but with this series, Jim Schaefer has put more into it than Wayne or I or anybody else. Money, time, everything. And we've done our share, but it takes all of us working together. And I'm not being smart or anything, but I just enjoy doing it. I get too much of the credit, and that's why this guy is here beside me, because he doesn't get enough. No.
Yeah, and Wayne was like, just put the microphone in Dick's hands and let him talk, because I really don't want to. He just, but both of you, in your involvement in motorsports alone in the Northeast, a lot of stuff you do and your love for it. Talk about that and how, the stuff
the racing guys started about. Listen, I got out of. I was running 4 racetracks. Things went bad. Economy went bad. I lost my home. I did all that. So I was out of racing. Mm-hmm. So in order to be, I had to stay out of it. It's like you just can't come and be. I have to be all in or all out. Mm-hmm. So my wife said, you know what? When we get everything straightened out, if you want to go back racing, that's fine. So it took me 25 years. And she's sorry she said it now, but not really. She's really been behind it. But the racing guys, my brother-in-law, he's always been with me whatever I've done. A bunch of us friends started going back to the races. And we started going to the races, and we got talking, and we would like to help some of the races. So as we went to the tracks, we'd say, let's give this guy $50 or something. And they looked at me. They says, are you real? These guys, you give them $50, they're going to laugh at it. I says, you don't understand races, I'm going to tell you. So that's how it started. Then, with all my connections from years, people started letting us in the tracks, which we never did because we didn't feel we deserved it. Mm-hmm. But we made the deal, if you let us in, we're going to put money in races. So we would take the money we would get for, now we had $200 or $300, $400, and we go through the pit area, and some of the younger guys and the smaller teams that need it out, that's what we started doing. Then we get brilliant ideas again. And we started putting on races for the smaller divisions, and we go say, we want to put this amount of money in. And I look at it as, wow. Well, what does it cost to run the whole race? Let's do the whole race, you know? And it was just a labor of love.
Yep.
And the thing we specify to the competitors, don't hold the racetracks hostage for money, because we're doing this because we want to, and if we ever hear you guys doing this, we will drop out of this in a hurry. The racetracks, you know, everybody thinks, you know, they're making a ton of money. Most of them are just surviving. And they're paying the guys most times more than they can afford. I know it sounds, but that's the truth. I know. I ran 4 different racetracks at one time in 1 year. I mean, every one of them just, and I did it without a cell phone.
I don't know how that happens anymore, but
But the other point to make about the tracks and money is, if you hire somebody to go out and raise money, by the time you get out, they get out, pay them, and do everything, you haven't raised a substantial amount of money. What you need is races, maybe older gentlemen, that have been involved and want to give something back. And that's the way it will work. And that's why it was worked with the racing guy. And Jim Schaefer. And 3 years ago, at the end of the year, there was 6 racing guys and Jim Schaefer. 5 of us had serious health problems. Jim Schaefer was very sick and nobody knew it. So we decided, we didn't know that we were coming back enough. So we were approached by Wayne Darling and Mark Pennick. Guys, you can't let this thing die. It's something really good for racing. So we made a deal with them. We would help and do everything. And last year, it went through some growing pains because they were businessmen. They started running like that. Jim, none of us guys did. We gave everything we had. But we were getting by because guys like Mike Cox, he would let us use his scales, or we saved money doing a lot of things so we could put the money into racing. And when we started this, we sat down, had a meeting, all of us. There was 3 goals. We wanted to help the racetrack, the races themselves, and make sure the fans got to see a great race for as little as possible. And if you go see a show like this for $25, let me tell you, I got a list of drivers here that would knock your socks off. I mean, there's going to be guys at this race that won't qualify that would probably win somewhere else. I'm going to tell you that.
yeah, because we've talked. I mean, we're over 40 cars registered for our Ron Bouchard's Auto Sales 100 race on May 26th. I mean, I should say 40 cars, over 40 cars registered for the Tri-Track Open Modified Series. Not all of them are going to be at Claremont, but a lot of big names are going to be at Claremont. I mean, John McKennedy has registered to run at Claremont. Ryan Preece will likely is scheduled to run at Claremont. Ryan Preece, who won last year for Joe Gibbs in the Xfinity Series.
Big money Matt
Matt Hirschman, who has won at Claremont before. He's going to be running as well.
Ron Soule,
Yep.
Richard Saley. I mean, you go on. Anthony Nocello. I mean, I got a list here somewhere. I don't know what I did with it.
Anthony Nocello, who won the Modified Racing Series title last year, he's registered to run too. And in fact, he finished 3rd last year at Claremont in the Valenti race we had in July. The Tri-Track Tour itself is very gifted, I should say, with getting drivers. And I think I know there's a lot of relationships involved between you and the drivers, a lot of between Jim and you, talking to them and everything else. And how have you created that kind of relationship between yourself and the drivers?
I really, yes, we do. We have a good relationship with most of them. But I don't think that, I think the reason is the rules. 5 years ago, before we started this, I was at Seacon for their open wheel Wednesday night there with 10,000 to win. They had 20 cars. And I'm standing there with 2 racetrack owners different promoters and some old races. And they said modified racing is dead. And boy, that was the wrong thing to tell me. Because I got right in their face. I said, bullshit. You know whose fault it is? It's your fault as well as anybody. You have 4 different modified divisions, all different rules. They can't go and run together or anything. You don't promote them at all. So don't blame it on us. I says, I could make it work. And they were all laughing. I think my mouth was going up. So after this happened, we were down in the pits and everything, and the guy started grabbing me. You know, we ought to go back to the old Yankee All-Star Series, or when all the guys got together. I said, but you have the you have the problem of the rules. But you know what? I'm not dumb when it comes to racing. I can make it work, because I'm going to tell you why. If you keep this series on tracks 1/3 mile or less, that's the big key. Because then you knock out a lot of the big buck guys.
Yep.
And you open it up to open modified series. That's what it says on there. That means basically you bring what you run in your division. But you do have to have certain rules. And how you control that is by weight, side weight. If you have different engines, I'm not smart enough to work it out, but I got guys that will. And you put a tire rule in, so everybody is on an equal footing. And when you keep that on the small tracks, the little guys, they have a shot, because there's a lot of good races. They just don't have the dollars, the technology maybe to go to the big tracks, and that evens up a whole lot. And that's why I'm so excited about your race. You've got 8 or 10 races from this area. You're going to have the hands full of these guys coming in. I'm going to tell you. Yes. And the thing about these guys, I'm friends with about every one of them. And I can go over and get a hug, get a thank you, and it's wonderful.
Yeah, and we have a number of Claremont Speedway drivers who are racing in this race. Dana Smith, who was last year's track champion, he's registered to run. Russ Hersey, who won last year's Valenti race at Claremont, a long time compared to Claremont Speedway, is running that race. Mike Willis Jr., who's a Valenti or Modified Racing Series regular.
Had a great showing down at Speed Weeks in Daytona.
Yes, he did finish 3rd in points down there in Florida as well. He's registered to run this race. Brian Roby, who won last year at Claremont, is running this race. Jeff Murray, who's won at Claremont last year, is running this race. A lot of local drivers are going to go up against the big dogs.
And, and the good thing is that racing is all about heroes. I mean, how many young racers out there want to be Ryan Preece? And if they don't go to Loudon or down to one of the big shows down south, they're not going to see him race, except for on TV in the Xfinity Series. Now they can come to Claremont and see their heroes race, because that's what racing is all about. This guy right up here, Ron Bouchard, he was one of my all-time heroes. I still have the Nutmeg Matchbox Modified of his 17 Connecticut car. I'll never get rid of that. And that's what it is. Racing is about heroes. Whether it's somebody who hasn't, whether Richard Petty was your hero or whether somebody who just started out a few years ago. You take former Claremont Speedway General Manager Jim Zullo sitting over there. His idol, Sparky MacGyver, is still racing to this day. And even though he won't be in this race, he's racing super modifieds. Jimmy has told me, he says, it would be a dream of mine to finish right behind Sparky MacGyver in a big race. And that's Jimmy's dream. That's his idol. And that could possibly happen still. And it could happen for these little guys to someday maybe finish behind or right beside of one of these big guys. And that's really what racing is.
Yep. We've last year you came up and helped. The racing guys helped us with our Daddy's Pizza Twin 30s last year. And it was a good success. A lot of drivers are very thankful. In fact, I think Dana Smith got a bonus that night for money. Oh, and whoever ran Tractor, yes.
Top 5 did, and there again, it was contingent on having you run the Tri-Track Series.
Yep.
So we're promoting your racetrack and our series, but we gave out $1,000 in bonuses, and that was from the racing guys, but it wasn't
Yeah.
to try track.
Yes.
But it doesn't matter where it comes from, as long as you're doing it. And another thing is, if you got sponsors out there that watch this show, you know, get on board for that second race here, because it's going to be a big show now. Because for us, the racing guys and all of us to get involved, we wanted to make sure that we were going to have a good show. And without a doubt, now you're going to.
Oh, I think so too. Hey, you know, I personally have been checking the weather every couple of days on AccuWeather.com.
You and Jim Schaefer.
Yeah, because it goes 90 days out. You know, it look at it, and folks, we're looking great for May 26th. I'm just saying that right now. It's going to be beautiful. 70 degrees. If it does rain that day, we're gonna run Sunday. That's the plan right now, but it's not going to. It's going to be a perfect.
27th.
That would be May 27th, correct?
right.
Yeah. All right, love
Really
it.
caught up
yeah,
on that?
yeah. Nice job.
Give a shout out to these guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
Let's
definitely
talk
wanna
about, talk about the
Bouchard.
sponsors for that race too.
Oh, yeah. Ron Bouchard and myself go way back. And we were just talking before when we were having dinner here. I was talking with George and telling him about, I had a match race with Ronnie Bouchard. That's something that not too many people know, but if they were reading newspapers, they must have saw it because it was on the front page for what we tried to do. Yeah. I just want to make sure that Ron Bouchard Auto Stores, Robbie, Paula, Chad, all the people there, thank them so much. Because without guys like this, we don't do this. And we have co-sponsors, Spaff Gold, Chassis Builders and Parts, and Jericho Performance. They're co-sponsors. And along with them, we have a whole lot of other ones that chipped in. And I'm going to tell you something now that's going to knock your socks off. Over 5 years doing this, we have raised $500,000. Not purse money, this is just extra money that we raised. Through the racing guys, Jim, all the sponsors. And we paid out over $1 million for 20 races. Hasn't even been 20 yet, but this, I think yours is the 19th and the 20th race. So, we did do something right. And believe me, we haven't done everything right. There's been hiccups and all that, but nothing intentional, just the nature of this business. It's so quick, things happen, and you have to straighten them out. But one thing, you make mistakes, you admit it, then the guy has no problem with it. If he doesn't like it, well then, he doesn't have to come or anything, but you explain to him. And I'll tell you, one of the mistakes was made that I made with Ronnie Bouchard. He's leading the races at Westport when I ran the racetrack. Charlie Jazambek, all you older guys remember Charlie J from Long Island. He was running second. Ronnie, nobody was going to catch him. He was just riding out front. Charlie come flying in the turn, spun Ronnie, and the two of them were out of the race. Well, I said, you know what? It's an unwritten rule, but there was no rule that I put Ronnie back to the front. Ronnie didn't do a thing. But the rule is, if you're involved in the accident, it doesn't say whether you caused it or not. So I made the change, and Brooksy, my flagman, come in after the race in New York. What is wrong with you? And we sat down and talked it all out. Well, came next week at the drivers' meeting, I had to get up and I said, guys, I made a mistake. Ronnie's one of my best friends. But that did not come into that decision. I don't care who was running that night, that's what I would have called. But I said, here's the good thing. Everyone's getting paid one spot up. Cost me $1,000. So that's a big mistake.
A little bribery. So we have a couple of folks. I realize we cut out. I apologize for that. A lot of people must be on the Wi-Fi here, which is good. Which is why you should be here right now watching it live. But just so you know, we're going to broadcast it again tomorrow, so you can watch it in its entirety. It'll also be on YouTube tonight when I get home. I'll post it on the Claremont Speedway YouTube channel. Mike Willis says he can't wait to finally do a tri-track race at the best track around. Jim Schaefer said he just got here. He says, tell Dick Williams to start over. Got to check it for quality control. So, Chris Riendo says, George, he thought that he was your hero. Chris Riendo, yep. Chris is running with us this year. So a lot of folks.
You are one of my heroes.
So make sure you share this post right now and send your questions into these gentlemen. They'll be here for a couple more minutes, and then we'll bring out Craig Smith to talk. But
can I just say that I'm glad that Mike Willis is. I've watched him race, and he's a great racer. And we're not great friends or anything, but I go and talk to him.
Yep.
And just because you don't run our series doesn't mean I don't like you. But I'm glad that this worked out. And they're great people, a good family. And I get to know all these guys that go on through the pits at all the other races. And another thing is Jack Bateman. I've been friends with Jack since I ran Monadnock way back in the early 80s. And one thing we specifically tried to not do was conflict with Whalen, Jack Bateman, or the ROC. And so far, it has worked beautiful. And like Jack said to me, I have no problem if you run 4 or 5 races. That's good for all of us. It's just, there's not enough days. I know that, Jack. And that's the reason we don't run more. And the other reason is, these purses are what you should be running for every race. It just can't happen.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's not enough money.
Absolutely.
But by coming to these, you might show up another race somewhere else because you got your money back in racing and you got a race in. So nothing was ever done to hurt Jack or any of the other series. And you got, over the past few years, and then 2 or 3 different series involved, and it wasn't any bad luck, but there's no dates. And they're creating problems. We're running racetrack or races with 17 cars. 14 cars, 21 cars, that's no good for anyone, you know, and what we tried to do was make modified racing, that's what we were, modified races, make it a better thing. And by running these shows and seeing that Jack's guys can run with anybody when they're when they're on the track of the size, you know, and it's like NASCAR. I have nothing against NASCAR, but it's a big boys circle. And what they're missing is the little guys you need to race. And if you go to their races, the fast guys start up front every week. You get all the little guys, but what's happening? 10 laps. You got half the field being lapped, and it's creating problems. One thing with our series, like a yard, we ran so many races and had 50, 60 laps before there's a caution. Once in a while you'll have a bad race. But what you have done, you have eliminated by running heats and letting guys race for it, you've eliminated the slower cars, and I'm not saying I love them all, because I was one of them. And you've given them a chance to win, and they've had a chance to legitimately get in there. And there's times when they get in there, and Dale Holdridge totally wrecked his car, came back to Monadnock, didn't make it to the heats, didn't make it to the Consi, ran the B main and won the B main, got the car together, started last, and for some reason I ended up on the starter's stand with John Spence. Yeah, that was good, huh? and it came towards the end of the race, and his Dale Holdridge running second. Well, I'm not a real religious man, but I do believe in the guy above. And I said, right there, I said a little prayer. I said, I'm not asking you any favors to let anybody win. But I said, please, Lord, take care of Dale Holdridge. I don't want to see him wrecked again. And he ended up finished third. Got beat on the last lap. So,
yeah, if you folks are watching live right now, Jim Schaefer's posted the number of drivers that have registered for the Tri-Track Series. All are intended right now are all intents and purposes.
One thing, Toby. We got a lot of guys coming from New Jersey and Pennsylvania on that list.
Absolutely. A lot of drivers from New Jersey and Pennsylvania are registered as well, which is good news for your series because you're pulling more drivers in that normally, haven't raced up here. And if you're curious to see if they make the drive to Claremont, it is a long weekend. And Claremont, a lot of these guys, and you watch a lot of the chatter on social media, they said, I've never run Claremont before. I can't wait to do it. Or folks, fans that are saying, I've never been to Claremont. I'm putting that on my list of tracks to visit this year. So, it should be very, very interesting to see who makes the trip up.
When we were talking before, I said a lot of the big stars, real racers, can't wait to come to Claremont. The thing at Claremont is the type of track that you've got to race the racetrack. You can't go out there and get a momentum going and go around it. You got to race.
Yep.
And these guys know it, and they can't wait to get it. And the guys that you hear don't want to run, I don't know if they're real racers or not.
Can you read some of those guys?
Yeah, so folks, this is who we have chimed in. Mike Holdridge, Les Hinckley's running. He's run at Claremont before. Tommy Wannick, Jeff Murray from Claremont, obviously he's running. Jeff Gallup, who ran last year. He's the Rookie of the Year in the Valenti Modified Racing Series. He's running with us. Sammy Ramo, who's run with us in Claremont before the last couple of years. He's registered to run. Rich Parker, Kurt Vignette, Paul Viget, sorry. John McKennedy, who just won the Wheel and Modified race down south at Myrtle Beach. He's registered to run with us. Nick Salva, who's run with us as well. Good to see him back. Tommy Barrett, Steve Massey, Dana Smith, as we mentioned, Claremont Speedway's track champion. TJ Blow, Colby Fournier, Ricky Collins, Jason Seacrest, his car is registered. Todd Padnode, who won the Daddy's Pizza Twin 30s last year and also was Monadnock Speedway Sportsman champion. He's running the Tri-Track Series, will be at Claremont.
He's going to be in his own car.
Yes, he is. Yes, he is. Brian Roby, as we mentioned. Rowan Pennick, folks, he was a Modified Racing Series champion as well and runs the Wheelin' Modified Series. He runs the 3 on the Wheelin' Tour, but he runs Gary Casella's car, I believe, on yours. We have Calvin Carroll, up-and-coming racer in the Wheelin' Modified Tour. Yep, Derek Randstrom, Scott Randstrom, excuse me.
He started out in the Allison Legacy cars.
Oh, did he really?
Yes, he's raced Claremont before in the Allison Legacy cars.
Scott Adams, Kyle Trainer, Ron Fries, Kirk Alexander, multi-time champion in the Modified Racing Series. He's registered to run with us. He knows his way around Claremont Speedway. John Kiefman, excuse me, I apologize if I pronounced him wrong. Ronnie Silk, Carl Medeiros, who's run with the Valenti Modified Racing Series. Big Money Matt Hirschman won the Ricky Miller Memorial Race at Claremont Speedway. He's running with us as well. Also the series champion with you guys. Is there a bounty out for him this year?
They were last year, but I don't know.
All right. Just curious. Someone asked that question, and I was just curious. Les Rose, Chris Bolton, who runs at Claremont in the 63. George Scora, he's running Claremont.
New York, big guy.
A lot of drivers from New York. Austin Costanash.
Pennsylvania.
Yep, Josh Quintera.
Oh, really?
Yep, he's run Claremont before, hasn't he?
Yes.
Yep, he's running. He's registered. Yes, that's right. He's running Claremont and Star this season.
Good to see Goodwin too.
Andy
Jinkowiak.
Jinkowiak, excuse me.
Buffalo.
Matt Galco, Mike Willis, as you mentioned, Russ Hersey, Anthony Nocella, and Richard Savory. That's your list of drivers right now registered for the Tri-Track Series for the race May 26th here at Claremont Speedway, the Ron Bouchard Auto Sales 100. Gentlemen, I really appreciate you guys making the drive up here. When you get the phone call from me and you said, we're going to come out, I got to go up to Massachusetts anyway. You want me to come up? I'm like, really? You want to come up to Claremont, New Hampshire on a Thursday night? And you did it, and I really appreciate it.
Because Toby and I had actually talked a couple weeks ago about maybe meeting you halfway somewhere so you didn't have to make the ride up. Really appreciate it. And before you leave, you got to tell us a little bit about this guy. He's been right there with you all this time.
Well, let me just say,
Yeah.
Richard said he was coming up here, and he said, you want to take a ride? So I said, well, I'm going to have my hip replaced next week, so I had to play it by ear to see if I was going to feel good enough to do it. And so anyway, he wanted to bring his car. I'm going to tell him the story about your car. So anyway, it was a car that my father-in-law drove for years. He just passed away last Thanksgiving. He was 96. But anyway, he had this old Buick LeSabre, right?
Yep.
1996. So anyway, Richard needed a car, so we sold it to him at a pretty cheap price. And so he's been driving it. So since he's been driving it, the windshield's not the best. He's got some wear and tear, some old age. So he says, I'm going to take my car. So I said, well, I don't know about that. To go to Ronnie Bouchard's auto sales and a couple other stops we made and then come here. So I was thinking I was going to take my truck. I said, that's kind of a long ride. Maybe we'll rent a car. So I went and rented a car. We go there this morning to pick it up, and I said, we're going to get a mid-sized car, right? Or intermediate, she called it. It was an intermediate. That's a little step down from the full size, I guess. So they had a Dodge Charger sitting there. So I said, what's the chances of getting the Dodge Charger? Well, it's a few dollars more if you want to get that. I said, well, so it was either that or what was it, Hyundai something. So I said, we'll take the Hyundai, whatever it was. I don't know if it was a Hyundai, but it was a smaller car. So we're going out to check out the car, and the girl finally says, you know what? You can take the Charger for the same price. So I said, all right. So don't feel too bad about us coming up here because we had a nice ride. And,
Yes, we had a nice ride, yes.
If I wanted to go 90, it didn't take much to get to 90.
So they'll be home in about an hour, folks.
Yeah. So anyway, it was a nice ride, nice area, and we noticed that a lot of snow, different places had more snow than you guys, but it was nice. I just want to add, it's been great to be part of the Tri-Track Series. I was there when Richard said, hey, you know what? I'm thinking about starting a series. And I kind of looked at him because we've been around racing. When he used to run the 4 tracks, I used to work at the Speed Bowl. And so I got an idea of what it took to run the tracks. So anyway, he said, I'm thinking about starting a series. So I said, all right. But I knew if anybody could do it, Richard could do it. And then Jim Schaefer came on board. And the two of them have been fantastic. And I can remember the first conversations we had. Richard always said, the big guys bring the crowd, but the little guy makes the race. And that's stuck with me forever. And that's such a true statement. Without all the small teams that are willing to come and race with a tri-track, they know maybe they don't have a chance when you got Ryan Preece, Matt Hirschman, Woody Petcat, Rowan Pettick, all the big name guys. They know they might not have a very good chance of making the race, but when they do make the race, they're happy to finish in the 20s or whatever, so it makes their day. And then you got the other guys that don't make the race, but they still get a chance to race in a consolation race or B-main or whatever you want to call it. So we get nothing but positive feedback from these guys, and we appreciate them so much. And what can I say? The Tri-Track Series has been, in my opinion, a good thing for racing, and I'm proud to be part of it.
And just to close out tonight, just from your partner in Long Island. He's been chiming in quite a bit. Jim, we miss you. You could have made the drive up for us. Could have been here too. But, Jim says approximately a dozen cars have signed up coming from Pennsylvania, New Jersey area. Yeah. Lots of first-timers running your series this season. He says Preece has it on his website. He does. He's registered. He said he's running Claremont. So look for Ryan Preece, folks. Blake Barney just signed up for the series as well.
Every day.
Yep. And then Jim Schaefer. I'm going to close out the show with this. Actually, let me mention this first. So, folks, it's $25 for adults, 13 and over, 5 to 12. It's going to be $10 that night. And it's going to be like an old-school Claremont Speedway race, folks, in the heyday back in the 80s when a full field, more modifieds than you can count, a full field of super streets, a full field of street stocks, and a ton of Wildcats. For $25, you can't get better. And to close it out, Jim Schaefer says, sounds like the police may be watching the road tonight, gentlemen, so take it easy. Wayne, thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Dick, thank you very much.
Thank you,
I'm glad you guys made the drive. I look forward to working with you May 26th and
Always
our
great to
August
see
18th
you.
race.
Yes,
Folks, we're going to swap
successful.
out guests, and we're going to bring Craig Smith in here, so just give us a couple minutes. Good time to use the bathroom and get a nice cold beer, sit down, or you can make it down to Daddy's Pizza if you can be here in 3 minutes.
You mind if I go to the bathroom?
Yes, you may.
Thank you.
We'll be right back.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you very much. No, very much. Appreciate you coming.
No, you know, it's always good to have these
I know.
people that, the big names in auto racing. And like I said, 2 weeks ago, doing this show, when former Claremont Speedway manager Jim Zullo told me his dream in auto racing is to finish second behind his idol, Sparky MacGyver, in a big race. You know, it made me realize how important heroes are in racing. You know, Jimmy said, you know, I could never fill Sparky's shoes, but if I could just finish behind him,
My girlfriend wants to get a picture.
it would mean, you know, it would be my dream come true. It'd be better than winning the Daytona 500. And really, folks, heroes are what auto racing is all about.
Thank you, buddy.
Thank you for the ammo.
All right, Craig. Get you a stool out of there so you can sit in the middle. There you go. You're right in the middle, my friend. All right, folks, you can still share this with your friends. Super Streeter Craig Smith's going to join us momentarily here. We're going to talk about the 2017 season, how we got started in racing. We're going to talk about 2018, and we're going to talk about the Dean Smith Memorial 52-lap race presented by Bates Construction and Guiled Family Haircuts.
How's it going, Craig? Good to see you again.
Hanging on there. So you can use the mic when you talk. That way people here can, because they're here to see you. Good crowd still, folks.
Oh, yeah, what's your name?
Huh? They're all here to see you. Every single person's here to see you. All right, so Kevin Furlong says Craig's my hero. Folks, send your questions into Craig. He'll be glad to answer them for you. Again, we appreciate Wayne and Dick being here from the Racing Guys and Tri-Track Open Modified Racing Series. Great start to the show. So, Craig, thank you for joining us tonight. 2012 Super Street Champion. You know, I'm glad you joined us on the show, but I just wanted to, you know, let's talk about something. The different Craigslist here we've got on the screen behind us. You're the 2012 Super Street Champion. You were finished sixth in points last year. You had one feature win. You know, it's a week after the week you wanted, but you still finished third in the week you wanted, so still good. You had 3 podium finishes on the year. You went between 2 different cars during the course of the season as well. You had 8 top 5s. You had 11 top 10s, and the interesting metric that I found was you only led 2 feature laps, but they were the most important ones on the course of the season. I think, you know, I mean, racing-wise, let's talk about racing-wise for you, as far as the season you had. You had your struggles. I mean, as you went through, you had the new car, you went back, you had troubles with that, you went to the old car, the old bone, and then came back, you know. As far as your racing season, how would you view it went for you performance-wise?
For the way that it started out with, you know, Dad's passing after the second week and switching cars and then losing my orange car, you know, in August, I would rate it somewhat good. I mean, for as many things that happened.
Yep.
I'd like some more consistency next year for this upcoming season to try to eliminate some DNFs, and it's basically our goal.
Yeah, there's you were involved in quite a bit of stuff last year. I mean, a couple wrecks, stuff breaking.
Not to my own doing. Some of it.
Yeah, I know. But you were the recipient of a lot of things, I should say.
How did it feel to race against yourself? I mean, you don't know how many times out there were like, and this guy and this guy and Craig Smith and Craig Smith. We had to say your name twice. I mean, with 2 Craig Smiths out there. I mean, was it like, you know, driving with a mirror in the cockpit? Or?
I would think it would be most confusing from the band's perspective
We tried to
because there
confuse
was so many times where I would go into work and then somebody would be like, "Oh, so you finished fourth this week?" And I'd be like, "No, I got third," and they just didn't know the difference. And then especially when the other Craig Smith won, it headlined in the newspaper. It was great. I was washing my hands one day at work, and one of the guys comes up and he's like, "Hey, congrats on the win Friday night," and I'm like, "Yeah, I got fifth."
But I appreciate it, though. You gotta, Alex Poison, yes, he says, Craig, are you single? And then he also asks, what's it going to like finishing behind the 15 and 49 this season?
Oh yeah.
They're both sitting right
Yeah,
over
they're both
there.
sitting over in the back booth there.
Speaking about a wreck that had none of my own doing, we'll
Oh!
talk about how I lost my orange
Call it
car.
out on camera.
Somebody didn't see that there was a wreck ahead. Drive a little bit beyond the hood pins.
Tyler's saying Alex was asking for a friend as far as you being single. You started out, I mean, you lost your father probably, week 3 of the season.
Yeah, shortly after week 2.
Yeah, going into the week 3. And that, he was your father, and George, and I'll probably get a little caught up a little bit. George is very emotional when that first race after. Obviously, and you ran that week too. You brought the old car out, you put the old paint scheme on it, the 52, his old number. Your cousins and that whole family stepped up to help you out, get that car ready.
That was a week I'll never forget. I mean, coming home Monday, finding him, didn't go to work the rest of the week. I had a couple crew guys and good friends that also stayed right there with me and made sure that I had some good company around me, and definitely got the 52 car pretty much ready to roll that week because my mind was not in. I'd try to go up to the garage for about 10 or 15 minutes at a time, and I just couldn't stay concentrated on it. So they mainly got the car together that week. But when I got to the track Friday night and I went to count crew members, there were 17 in my pit area. It was like NASCAR style. I came in from practice and I went right up on 4 jack stands before I could even get my belts undone.
I mean, that was the least amount of work you had to do probably ever in your racing career.
Yeah, that was a pretty nice night, but it was nice to have everybody from family members to cousins, everybody that just came by that night.
Yeah, and you started how old were you when you started racing?
I was 10 years old. I started doing go-karts down at Sugar Hill, the same stuff that is run here on Sundays, and did that for about 4 years, but I got too tall for the kart, and so we wound up moving to Youth Sportsman over here at Claremont before I finally got the boot from that because Dennis said I had to put something under the throttle, so there was the old bone was sitting in the next bay, and I got thrown into the super streets at 15 years old. So
and you won your title at what age?
16.
Wow.
So that was.
You were very young then for a super street champion.
Yeah.
Did you win it by 1 point?
Yes.
Yeah. You beat,
it happened over post-race tech.
Oh. Did it? Oh, okay.
I
remember bringing up tearing like a band-aid off a wound or something?
I had originally, I believe, finished 4th in points, and following tech off an illegal carburetor, I ended up winning the championship by 1 point. And all it took was that 4-point difference that there is from first to second. That the 4 points is what basically did it.
So last year, sorry, George, go ahead. No. See, last year you had the one feature win.
Yeah.
You had one feature win the year before. I think it was the last race of the season the year before. And the year before last was a really rough year for you because it seemed like nothing was going right for you with the car, everything else. And then finally that last week you put it together.
I think that year we went through like 2 cars and like 3 motors and finally got a win in like late August, but it was pretty special then.
That's for you, Toby.
Oh.
Yeah, we got Keith Stevens in the crowd here tonight, former 19 modified driver.
Yep. Yeah, I just wanted to thank George Parris who got in the races first, Mod.
He bought his
He
first
bought
race car
from
from me.
Ernie Boudreaux.
Got him started.
Yeah, and Ernie Boudreaux's in the house
He
tonight,
bought
too.
his first modified from Ernie Boudreaux. He bought his first race car from me.
Oh,
It
really?
was a 69 Mustang Fastback.
Oh, no kidding.
That he ran in the old street division. Thank you, Keith.
So, folks, send your questions into Craig. He'd be glad to answer them for you. Cole Littlewood says the 52 was fast at Monadnock. He had fun battling it out with you.
49 fast.
You know,
But if Mr. 49 remembers that when he got a little bit loose about 3 to 4 laps later that I actually ended up passing him. Small details, I know. Oh, yeah, I'm sure.
yeah, Craig's getting heckled from a bunch of from Alex specifically. This season, you have is it the car, the 23 car last year, or is it new?
No, it's a brand new Davis Chassis Works car that is slowly coming together. Pretty excited to debut it. I've never had anything very new. Most of it's been all 90s technology. Pretty excited about it, though.
Is it in your garage now?
Yes.
How's it coming along?
We're making progress.
Now, a brand new Davis Chassis Works car.
Yes.
Is that you bought it from Drew Davis?
Yeah. That's exactly it.
Well, we saw pictures of it during the summer. You know, and a lot of you guys are very private about, posting pictures of your cars during the off season, because you don't want really your competitors to know what's going on with it. Your car did pop up a couple of times on social media. You didn't post it; other people did.
I did until it started to be. I started hearing stuff in the rumor mill about it being illegal and blah blah blah. So I was like, you know what? It's not going on Facebook anymore. You guys will all wait till first practice.
Yeah. And what are your? I mean, will it be done for the first practice? I don't know if we'll have it on April 14th, but the 21st
don't
it should.
plan on going on the 14th at this point. If we make it the 14th, great, but the plan is right now for the 21st.
Yep.
I'm not even sure right now if the track's going to be really ready for the 14th.
Oh, it will be.
You got your shovel out?
We got 70-degree weather coming in June.
We've been going up there and checking it daily, and more and more it's coming off. I mean, still the backstretch and turns 3 and 4 still have some snow on it, and the pits are still covered.
This warm rain will get rid of some of that stuff.
It will. It's going to go quick.
And it's supposed to be like 55 and sunny Saturday. Excuse me.
Paula Tobin says excited for race season to begin. John Dean says, Craig Smith, there you are. Talk about some of the people last year, obviously, your father was with you all the time. Talk about some of the other people that helped you out through your racing career to get you to where you are today.
Well, mainly my dad was my crew chief. Losing him was a pretty big loss last year, but I got one of my good friends, Kevin Roginski, that really stepped up to the plate and stepped into the whole crew chief role and stuff that at the shop every night. And I got one other crew guy, Rex Batchelor, who's been really helpful, and he's right there most nights too. And my brother Henry comes in spots, and my roommate Darren likes to come in and help every now and again. And it takes a lot of people to do it, especially last year when we were trying to run like 2 tracks at one point in time.
Yeah, you were.
And sometimes, though, Monadnock's deal was a throw together after Friday night. Hey, we haven't checked the car, so let's go through it on Saturday morning, and we want to go race. But I will say 1 or 2 of the times, I think there was some alcohol decisions that were involved in making those decisions to race Saturday night. But we had a lot of fun at it, and I wouldn't change it for the world.
So what other tracks have you run besides Claremont? You ran Monadnock. Anything else?
I've ran twice down to Lee. I ran a couple times up to Canaan. Almost won a championship up there. Came really, really close to the last night.
Tyler Lescourt has a good question for you. And it's actually serious.
He has a legit question.
It's a serious question.
He's being nice. He brought his kids tonight.
What's your happiest or proudest moment from racing?
Probably
Tyler.
Oh no, that happens on a weekly occasion. I would definitely say my championship in 2012. It brought a lot of emotion and something that, honestly, Dad was very, very proud of, to the point that he wanted it in his obituary. So that
And
was
you
pretty
followed
cool.
that up with an opening day win the next season at Monadnock.
That
First
Monadnock
2
win
weeks.
is got to be right up there because that was like pulling a rabbit out of my hat that
The
I just
following
did
year?
not.
Yeah,
2013, we went down to Monadnock, and that was after the year that Claremont had decided that they weren't going to run. So we went down there, decided in like March time, hey, I guess we're running down Monadnock for a full season. So showed up down there, practice didn't really go that great. First night, I think I went out second or third in heat race or whatever, and ended up being, got to redraw. I started third that night, and it went caution free, and there was one caution. The leader spun out in front of me, and it had no help from me, and I inherited the lead. But I had my hands full the last like 5 laps. Eddie Brio gave me a run for my money that I'll probably never forget. But that was a pretty emotional night.
You know, I was in the stands that night watching the race. And
You were announcing actually, so
that was the second week I announced. I think. No, you're
yeah,
right.
you
You're right, I
announced
did-
because
I did
you
announce
came
it.
down and you were like, "Hey, stranger," and I didn't even know you were announcing that night.
That's right. You're right.
Emily Miller says, my niece can't wait to cheer you on this season. Doug Nelson said, I know you've run a handful of tracks. Other than Claremont Speedway, what is your favorite track to run?
Olive Street in Springfield.
Is that, oh, no, not, oh, is that where he lives over there? I know where that is. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you, gentlemen.
I'll
Man,
talk to you.
it's a pretty toss-up between Canaan and Monadnock because honestly, Monadnock kind of kept me on the edge of my seat where you kind of, there's no point where you're like, you have no easy moments down there at all. You're always,
Up on the wheel.
Up on the wheel, yeah, that's a good way to put it. But I enjoyed a lot of Canaan too, and I don't know if I could really pick between one or the other. It's pretty
Thank
close.
you, Wayne.
How many years did you run at Canaan?
I ran there one full season in 2011, and we were unhappy with the general manager, so at the end of that year we decided to leave and come back to Claremont.
Alex Poison back again.
Oh boy.
Wants to know what's your most frustrating night of racing?
Being passed by Alex.
Well, yeah. I mean, what night did you just sit there, you got out of the car, and you just said, you know what, I don't want to do this anymore, and I'm out.
I've had enough.
Yeah, I've had enough.
Anything in recent memory, I guess, was once this past season I got out of the car and we'd finished 7th, and it was a really, really rough night, and I fought loose all night long, and I remember I got out and I got into an argument with one of the crew guys, and I had to go settle down behind the trailer. It was pretty frustrating, at least that night, but I mean, any night that you wreck has pretty much been my most frustrating night. I will say when I lost my orange car was probably one of my more other frustrating nights.
Tyler Morris wants to know, will you be racing the Lee Late Model Sportsman at the Governor's Cup?
It's been talked about in the garage, but there's been nothing definite. I mean, definitely they're changing over to Hoosier 700s down there, and with us running 800s here, it's really hard for me to justify to go down there and spend $500 for tires for one show.
So if he's looking for tire sponsors, folks.
Tyler,
that was his
Tyler,
hint.
buy his
That was
tires.
his hint, yeah.
If you throw in $500
Yeah.
for tires, I might be more likely to run this show.
Yeah, Tyler, we're going to put you to work on the tri-track race, too, just to let you know.
Yeah.
Kevin Frohn wants to know, how'd you come up with the number 23?
Well, we had purchased a car from my cousin Aaron, and funds were really, really low at the time. And so it had a 29 on it, and Dad gave me the option. He said, here's the deal. He said, you can change one digit number on there. He said, you got an option. It could either be, 09, 19, 39, 49, or change it and take the other side off. And I started thinking about it, and I was like, there's nobody out there that runs number 23. So there I was with duct tape numbers. Duct tape number 3. I had a regular 2 on there with a duct tape 3 the next week. And about 2 weeks later that Nathan Kelly stopped in, and he's like, hey, so I'll sponsor you some numbers, because with the 2 and then the duct tape 3, it just didn't really look well. But
Nate's a good guy. Really smart man.
actually, he really helped me out, because he he stepped up when Dad passed away and made all the stickers that week. And he came over and vinyled the car, and he would not take a penny for it.
Really?
And I mean,
Wow.
That's neat.
stepped right out, and I really appreciated it. And I told him that a million and one times, as many times as I could. But I was like, that week that Dad passed away, I was like, I really don't have money for vinyl. You know, we're only third week of the season, and he's like, I got it covered. He's like, I'm in, you know, he was in such a shock as I was about it. That there was a lot of people that stepped up that week, and I probably can't even name them all, but there was quite a few.
The old bone still in the garage too?
Yeah, it'll make a few appearances, I'm sure, this year. Not really sure what the plan is for it. Really don't have a set out schedule.
Yep.
It always seems to make its way to the track. I don't know. Somehow I always seem to wreck the primary car in August or July. So
Well, it's funny because I was going through pictures, right, for the PowerPoint presentation and stuff I use for marketing, and you'll go through and you started with the orange 23, and then it goes to the black 52, and then back to the 23, and then back to the 52 again. So based on what week it was, I didn't know what car you were going to be driving, so it was a little bit difficult trying to find pictures of you, sorting through all the stuff. Nathan Kelly says #preach.
yeah.
Brian, Lisa Harris says, Brian wants to know if you'll have a Ford motor in that car, so you'll have a fighting chance to win.
Oh no Ford motors.
Some good. I mean, not a lot. I mean, I shouldn't say that's probably with your father's passing. The Dean Smith Memorial 52-lap race has come on board, and you don't want to have them for anybody. You put that together. You got a lot of support from people who supported you and supported your dad last year, and they were ecstatic when you put that race together pretty quick, and without an issue, you had funds for your race.
Last year I sold all 52 laps within, I believe it was 20 minutes time within Facebook messages. So that was really nice. Show the support that there is out there.
And this season, last season, Jack McClay won the race. You finished third, which was very emotional for you. Your goal was to obviously win that race, but a third. Your whole family was down the track with you. George and you did a replica picture of George did with your father years and years ago. This year again, you asked the track earlier about having the race again, which obviously we said absolutely. And tonight you want to release the purse for the 2018 version, the Dean Smith Memorial 52-lap race. And folks, this is what we're looking at, controlling the purse strings. So the winner this year, based on all the donations Craig's received from friends, family, fans, the winner will win $1,200 of that race.
I tried to make it so at the end of the purse that, it paid enough to keep the cars to come back each week, but it also kind of had a headlining bonus where it was nice money to take home. And I sold all the laps. My sister Lisa stepped up, and her boyfriend Brian, and thank you very much because that helped an extra $500 towards the purse. I sold all the laps. Jack Murray stepped up. There's a $150 bonus for whoever leads lap 3. There's a $150 bonus for whoever finishes third. Mike Parks and Pro 66 Racing have stepped up. There's a halfway leader bonus. Some pretty cool things for this event. I think it should be very nice.
I think so too. I know those numbers, 625 for second. With the bonus for third, it's 500 for third, 400 for fourth, 325 for fifth, all the way down through 11th through 20th is 200, which is good money for that. Last year, I can't recall how many cars we had run that race.
A
close to a full field.
little over 20.
Yep.
So hopefully it's not as much of a crash fest as it was last year and take over an hour to compete. And there was only I believe a little over 10 cars that finished, and I think 4 needed front clips. And it was, I think it took us 45 minutes to get off lap 0.
It was. I think it was 10 or 11 cautions. You're right. There was a couple of times it took you to start that race. Yeah, that's right. I remember that now. Yep. You've probably heard us talk. A couple of weeks ago, we had Ricky and Dylan on that. The Super Street division, we always write numbers down of drivers. We go by whoever won the week before goes first. We go through and write them on the board, and there's probably some still on there from the last race of last year. I don't know if anyone picked you the night you won or not? I don't recall.
I didn't have a damn win all year. I know that.
I don't think I did either because I kept picking the same driver and he kept wrecking. So
George, did you even ever pick me this year? This last year, did you even ever pick me?
You don't want me to?
No. I'm asking, did you ever pick me this past year?
God, I'm sure I have. You
Yeah.
know, I can't remember. I know I did.
yeah, we look at the lineup and figure where they are and what cars they're going to pass to get there. There's a lot of science involved in it. Usually Heather or
whoever-
Tara,
which line's
Heather and Tara
faster?
usually win most of the
Yeah,
time.
usually whoever I pick wrecks.
Oh, good. Well, don't pick me then this next year.
So, this coming season, what are your expectations, obviously, to lower the DNFs? Wins. I mean, you think about it, the talent that you have in the Super Street division, we talked about with Ricky and Dylan as well, that from top to bottom, it's pretty stout. I mean, any one of your drivers, last year we had 9 different winners win in 14 weeks. And then this year is going to be the same boat. I mean, your cousin is coming back to race as well. And a lot of the same drivers are returning. So, I mean, what are your expectations for this season?
I expect it to be very stiff competition like it was last year. My hope is to, try to get a handful of wins. I mean, I'm never the cocky, confident person, but just some more consistency to this next year. That's all I'm looking for.
And who's sponsors? Who do you have on board? Who's helped you as far as sponsors?
Oh man, Randy and Martha Markwell. There's A.B. Guile, Kevin Furlan helped buy some tires to start the year with. Guile Family Haircuts, Bates Construction, Flurry Sales. Just a bunch of people that usually come on and help out. Sometimes it comes together the last minute or a few races into the season, but everybody helps out.
So the first race is May 4th. New car for you. What's going to be going through your head? Let's say you're starting first. Let's say you got the pin because you
If
won
I'm
your heat
starting
race.
first, then I probably won't be as much worry. But the hope is that the couple of practice days to get all the bugs worked out of it, and I expect to come out of the gate pretty well. I mean, Jeremy builds really, really fast cars, and that was one of the reasons why we chose to go to him. And he's been super helpful and helped out a lot of the smaller teams. I mean, we spent a couple Saturdays up there, and he worked with us all day long on the car.
Really? And
was more than fair about the price, and been really helpful to work with.
So is he going to stop by and help you to get the car adjusted?
I'm sure he will, because we showed up a couple Wednesday night practices last year, and he knew that I was going, so he was texting me and asked me how things were going. And one night, him and Natasha showed up, and I didn't even ask them to come down, but they asked me if they could, and I definitely don't have a problem with his help in the pit area. That's for sure.
Absolutely.
He's a really good guy, very knowledgeable, and a very good racer in his own right. Jeremy's damn
Oh yeah.
Well, folks, by the end of the season, I'm sure you're going to see Craig Smith, the original Craig Smith, in the battle for the Super Street, the R.E. Hinckley Super Street title. Craig, we thank you for joining us tonight. Last question: if you could race against somebody, who would it be?
Anybody or
Anybody.
just
Doesn't matter who it is. Who would you want to race against the last couple laps of a race?
as fear as to who's somebody on my back bumper, if they're like gonna wreck me or?
No, I mean if you could say, let's say you win. Let's say you want to get the win. You want to win against this person. Who would you want to get? It doesn't matter who it is. It could be anybody.
Somebody in the Cup Series, anybody.
Anybody.
It could be Ayrton Senna, even though he's passed away.
I don't really have anybody in Pacific. I mean,
okay, so who are you most fearful when they're on your back bumper with a couple laps to go in your division? Current drivers. Who's the one person you do not want to hear your spotter say blanks behind you or?
They were just sitting over there.
Yeah.
all them, I don't know. I would say, is there anybody that you don't want on your back bumper?
Yeah, you don't want them on your back bumper.
I would say it'd either be Ricky Bly or my cousin Aaron. They're going to give you a run for the money, and for the most part, run you pretty clean.
For the most part. I like how he phrased that up. You know, those are those are the names you hear too. I think Dylan mentioned he didn't want Ricky behind him either.
Yep.
Yeah.
Nobody wants Ricky behind him.
No.
He coming back as the champ, and that's, you know. One thing I do want to say before we sign off.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
I definitely want to say hi to Aunt Pam. I just met her this week, Toby and Courtney's aunt. And I would also like to give a hi-ho to Jim Lanoux. Jim Lanoux, former Claremont Speedway general manager, is home recovering from a nasty illness. And we wish Jim the best, you know. Really look forward to seeing your smiling face again soon, Jim.
Thanks, George. Forgot about that. Mm-hmm. So, folks, we thank Craig Smith for being here tonight. He was nice enough to allow the racing guys who wanted to come up and talk about the tri-track race, and Craig was nice enough to take the back end of the show for us tonight to let that happen. We appreciate it. Like I said, we're going to see him definitely in the points battle this year, probably a couple wins as well. Looking forward to the Dean Smith 52-lap Memorial 52-lap race presented by Bates Construction and Goud Family Haircuts. That is May 19th.
May 18th.
May 18th, excuse me, yes. Third week of the year, too. So that should be pretty exciting.
It'll be May 19th.
Yes,
So you're on target.
Well, actually, that day is actually scheduled to rain. I'm just going to say that, right, because I have looked that far in advance, too. But it won't, don't trust me. It won't. And in fact, it was raining out earlier tonight, just fitting for our Facebook Lives, and it rains. But Craig, thanks for being here tonight.
Thank you guys for having
Folks,
me
I don't know
on.
what we're going to have in the next couple weeks. We'll figure that out. I'll be posting it here this week. As we said, we had a couple of technical difficulties earlier. We'll post it on YouTube later tonight, so you can watch it there. And I'll also share it again tomorrow in the morning on Facebook. So we thank you for tuning in. Thank you all for that came down tonight to watch the show live. We again thank Daddy's Pizza here, Claremont, 50 Pleasant Street, for hosting us. And we'll see you back here in a couple of weeks.
And Claremont Speedway for all of us.
Yes.
Thanks, Craig.
Thank you.